Good morning. I'm just waiting for everyone. Thank you. I am so happy to have you here to welcome you to Queen of Angels, to be part of this orientation. It's been a long process for you. I know you've looked and I know you've chosen Queen of Angels as the kindergarten program for your child. If this is your first child entering school, this is a huge step. If you have younger siblings who have gone through kindergarten, there may be a few new things that we share with you about Queen of Angels. So the purpose of this is to kind of familiarize you with what happens between now and the summer letter that I'll send sometime in July, where you'll get homeroom list and you'll get information about the school year. But before we begin our presentation, we'll open with a prayer like we do everything at Queen of Angels. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together as we begin to form this most important partnership with our new families. Bless each of our new students as they prepare to enter kindergarten. We ask that you use every person, every experience, and every lesson to help shape each into your image, to reflect your spirit, and to fulfill our mission that will enable each of them to grow into the person that God created them to be. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. So I start that so they can grow into the person that God created them to be, because we are a Catholic school and that's our mission. You probably saw during the admissions process, and if you look above the stage and you'll see on our screen, which each slide, we have a tagline: Encounter Christ, Empower Students, and Engage Community. We've been able to do the first two this year. Unfortunately, the Engage Community has suffered because we have not been able to have the programs that we've had. And I'll address the pandemic at the end when we open it up for questions and what next year will look like. But with that, and if you have questions, if you'll jot them down, we'll go ahead and answer those at the end of the presentation. So we begin with the QA Family Portal. Now, you might already been here, and this is how we operate. It's our student information system. As you grow, as your children grow, or if you have older siblings coming in, this is where their grade book is. This is where things are posted, announcements, a current version of the Herald, the lunch menu. Let me go on. The full school calendar, I'm going to show you the abbreviated school calendar, the Student Family Handbook that you will sign and say, I've read it, and it has all of our policies and procedures in it. That won't be available until later in June, just because we have to send any changes down to the Archdiocese for their approval. We have it once you get your Uniform of Guardian Gear order form. We have the mass schedule, reading lists and assignment. Those are primarily for older children, but what's very important is this right section. In fact, I'm going to take this right here. This is where you'll find a great deal, but I want you to, when you go onto the family portal, you will see school and you will see classes. And this is where you're going to find forms. And for our returning parents, this is new for next year. All the forms are going to be in writable PDFs, and you will upload them. So, and there'll be more discussion on that. But so this is the QA Family Portal. You have a logon information that you'll be able to access this. And this is where you find the most current information about the school. Now, we also have a parent app that you can download on your phone. It does not have the functionality of a desktop. So if you're checking grades or if you're, looking for something, your desktop is your best bet. But for pulling up the lunch menu on the way to school when you're at a stop sign, for looking for directions or announcements, or is this a out of uniform day or not, the parent app can help you. RenWeb, who the company that we initially adopted, has changed. Fax has purchased them, and so it's really it's a fax, a student information system, but when you download the app, it's probably going to still say RenWeb. There is a charge of $4.99 if you download the app, but then it's not a yearly fee, it just continues. So that is the QA Family Portal, one of the most important parts of communication with you as parents. So the school calendar, and you might have already seen this. Hold on, let me just go see what's going on in the cafeteria. So this is the abbreviated calendar, and it gives all the school holidays when we come back to school in August. So the 4th through the 10th are pre-planning. And then the 11th for kindergarten is an early release date. That's our welcome back. You'll bring your children into school. You will say goodbye to them. You'll meet the teachers. You'll be in the classroom. And then you'll come over here for the real orientation, where you'll learn about carpool, and you'll learn about, you'll meet our nurse, and how to fill out forms, and not the school forms. You'll learn more about the curriculum in kindergarten. This is just kind of to get you through that summer letter and into school, so that we hope that you'll be able to walk your child into kindergarten, and we know you'll be able to come over here because they're increasing the capacity of, different rooms. Even this year, we're current at 50, but I anticipate that that's going to go away shortly. So we know we'll host you for that more important orientation. So this is a good resource if you're planning any kind of trips, or when you need to know the Christmas holidays. We hope to have Grandparents' Day this year, which is always the Friday before the Thanksgiving break. But that's all on the main school calendar, which is in the QA portal. So our list of our faculty and staff can be found on the web page. This link takes you, and this is the current 2021. We don't have very much turnover here at Queen of Angels. We have 3 people retiring who have been here, some since the beginning of the school in 1999. That's our PE teacher, and our one of the kindergarten parapros, and who's the third one? Oh, our middle school religion teacher. And then we only have one other teacher who's leaving. So we're thrilled to have that level of retention. I can't say enough about our faculty, these men and women who 70-something% of them have advanced degrees. But most impressive this year was their dedication and commitment, and their negotiating, all the challenges that they have been faced with from teaching under 2 platforms and instilling all these protocols that we've had to have that has allowed us to stay open since last August. So we're thrilled with that. So if you scroll down here, it talks about the educators, and then there's a whole list over here: administrative staff, primary and intermediate, and you can access that if you see somebody. Pictures are there and information about their background. This is a most important document for you, and I didn't say, we're going to send this to you with active links, so you'll have this presentation for those of you who are here and those of you who are joining us via our live stream feed. You will have this presentation to be able to. So let me open this one. I'm afraid to make it any bigger. Well, so again, this is me. I pretty much have an open door policy, but we have such a strong administrative staff, as well as people who help throughout the school. I'm available if you can't find an answer. Shoot me an email. But people who know more in detail about the different areas I'm going to tell you about. So Mrs. Montepere that helped you in the admissions process, she also serves as our admissions, my assistant principal, my right hand. She oversees all the safety and procedures and crisis management for the school. Those lockdown drills, tornado drills, weather drills, anything that relates to school safety. We have a great team in place, and we're constantly updating those protocols under the advice of the Roswell Police Department. We just had our lockdown drill last month. She oversees standardized testing, admissions, and then requesting student records. Curriculum coordinator, who you will hear from this morning, she oversees all of the curriculum for Queen of Angels, the standards, the implementation, the classroom resources, field trips, changes to schedule, a whole host of things that go through Mrs. Preisler, who is our curriculum coordinator. Mrs. McDaniel is our religion coordinator. If you are, and I'll talk about HSA in a minute, our spiritual life committee under the HSA is one of the most powerful and wonderful group of volunteers, and she oversees the spiritual life committee, service projects, all school masses, religion curriculum, theology of the body, any paraliturgical events that we have here at school that helps to bring our Catholicity alive. The advancement director, Melissa Harrison, she's walking around and taking pictures, documents all of our events. She oversees the website, community events, the annual fund, advancement efforts. I Give Catholic, Grace Scholarships, anything related to money coming in is Mrs. Harrison. But she's also a lot of fun. She is a party planner, and if you are part of our current parent population, you know that. Our business manager, she handles anything related to your financial account, the fax account. The financial aid is actually me. I need to move that up. So that if you have any problems with your fax account, you can contact fax. That's probably the most direct answer. But Mrs. Malinak, we bill you for incidentals, which are uniforms, as well as lunches or, lost or damaged property. That's a once a month charge that goes to your fax account. If you would have a question like, I know my child did not eat, the middle school lunch every day during January. There's something wrong. And so she would be able to go in and work with the cafeteria and make that adjustment to your account. This person is your friend. Terry Kennan, she's a registrar. She probably took your temperature coming in. Mrs. Cannon wears many hats here. Her primary role is registrar, overseeing all the records and transcripts, all the admissions files coming in. But she is really a woman of so many talents. And so when you are having trouble logging into your your RenWeb or your fax account, the family portal, she administers the database. She oversees student records. She uploads report cards and progress reports. Anything with school forms, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is Mrs. Kennan. Administrative assistant, my administrative assistant is Larissa Williams, and she oversees attendance, the Virtus and background screening. So you probably heard about this because a lot of parents are concerned about safety. We have protocols for anybody entering the school, including parents. So we run a background check on you, and we also require you to have Virtus training. Virtus training, if you're not familiar with it, is a safe environment training through the Archdiocese of Atlanta. It's currently available, in many parishes. We have 2 trained facilitators here at Queen of Angels, and we'll offer that for new parents once, in August, so that you can get that Virtus training. It's about 3.5 hours. You have to be physically present for it, and it's a whole host of reporting and obligations to report if the environment that your children in is not safe. It's difficult to think that we have to do that, but we do that for everyone coming into the building, except for service workers who are background screened, and they're They don't come during the daytime anyway. Our receptionist, you might know her, you might have seen her. I love that where it says smile. Sandy has been here. She's one of the original members of the QA staff. She knows everything. She will answer your phone call. She will send you to one of us. She will help you sign your child out. She will give you, any kind of information that you need to or direct you to the person. She sits in the front desk. She's the first person you'll see when you come in the front door. Sandy does not work in the summer, though, so you'll have to wait until August to get to know her. And then our guidance counselor, Brittany Voltner, she oversees programs like Red Ribbon Week. She goes into the classroom. We do Virtus training with the children. She oversees that. Anything with social or emotional, transitional issues, when there's issues in the family, sometimes if there's a death in the family, any kind of disruption to your traditional family routine. And she also assists Mrs. Montepere with standardized testing. The classroom teacher is important because depending on the grade level, she communicates in many ways. The kindergarten teachers actually send out a weekly email, and I know that. I know what that is because Ms. Montepere is on maternity leave. She has a kindergarten student, and I'm getting all her emails, so I know exactly what goes home to the parents this year. There's Google Pages, and then they email as needed. If there's some change in schedule or something, they're very good communicators. And then when would a parent communicate to the teacher? Well, the teacher is the first point of contact. If there's something in the classroom, if it's something larger that you don't feel like it's a Miss Voltner issue or you don't see it's a Miss Monte, more of a discipline, then I'm always interested to hear. And so those are the important people. And again, you'll have this chart as the link to this chart in the presentation we send you. All right, so school forms. There are required forms for all of our parents. Most important for you as new parents is a physical signed by a physician. These forms will be ready June 1st, so you'll be able to download them as a PDF, and then you will fill them out, a writable PDF. You'll fill them out, and then you'll upload them to that section where it says classes. It'll be like a homework drop. So your homework will be to fill out the forms and then upload them to the parent portal. They're due by July 20th. And we will send out additional information this is new for our current parents because it's always been paper. But the gift of this, if you have like 3 children attend Queen of Angels, you just fill out the family information once, and then you save it for child 1 with their information. You save it for child 2 with their information, and those forms can be uploaded. So let me talk a little bit about, and this gives you directions. So if you go on the QA portal after June 1st and you're having issues, Mrs. Kennan is the person that can help walk you through this process. So for our new parents, for new students, the school health report, and that's actually a physical examination signed by a physician, a student emergency care form for each child, and so if your child takes any kind of medication, if they can't even bring cough drops in their backpack, everything's in the clinic. And so if they're going to take anything here at school, it has to go through the clinic, and there has to be a form that you've signed off that they can take this medication, and it's administered by a nurse. And we have a full-time nurse here at Queen of Angels. So this medical permit form is available. So, if we enter the school year and your child develops strep throat, and they go past, hopefully we're down to 48 hours next year for returning to school without a fever, and they still have to take the antibiotic during the day, you will provide the medicine. We have a refrigerator. All this is locked up, and it's kept very confidential. And, a parent asked last night, what about severe allergies? There'll be an opportunity for you to fill out, on the form that I need to speak with you about my child's specific needs, and Mrs. Eddings will call you prior to the school year, or right when we get into August during pre-planning, so that we know that your child is, that, there's nothing in the environment that will, result in some type of an allergic reaction, or that we've got EpiPens, or whatever that is. Then the 2 immunization forms, the 3300 and the 3231, required. And I think I just have to go there with you. I have had a number of parents ask me, will the COVID vaccination be required? I don't have an answer to that. In my heart, in my common sense line of thought, they don't require the flu shot. But the pandemic has been kind of crazy. But no one can require that right now because we don't even have approval by the FDA. We have emergency approval, but we don't have approval by the FDA. So until and I saw this on the news this morning, and that's why I thought I better touch on it. There are some county schools that they're making the decision whether to make it mandatory or not. And I don't keep me to this, but I don't see that happening. But I'm looking for guidance from our task force in the Archdiocese, who has 2 pediatricians from CHOA that serves on it and oversees the guidelines, the protocols, and the policies for all Catholic schools in the Archdiocese of Atlanta. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But those are required. That's a archdiocesan policy. We have to have current immunization records. The nurse checks those, and then if they're missing, we'll contact you. We always have a list. They cannot come to school on August 11th unless we have the medical health report and the immunization records on file. Okay, so then there's additional forms that everyone has. We've got the Student Handbook, and as I said, that's going to be available sometime in June. We ask that you read that. All the different requirements are there, anything you want to know. And so where there's anything that comes up and there's a question, I usually just copy and paste it out of the handbook and send it to the parents. It's lengthy. It's a flip book. You can print it. You can read it, on your computer. You can download it. But it's important that you're familiar with everything from attendance policies to, tuition policies, withdrawal policies, honor roll policies. They don't have honor roll in kindergarten. The media release form is important. So at Queen of Angels, we acknowledge that there are parents that do not want their children on social media. And we have parents that don't even have social media accounts. However, we have a huge social media presence, both on Facebook and Instagram. And many of our families love to have those daily posts come up so they can see the many wonderful things that we do here on a day-to-day basis at Queen of Angels. The media release form will opt your child out of their picture being taken and being used anywhere in our publications, on Facebook, and we know who the children are. And often we will, if we're going to take a group shot, we will take them out of that picture because we need to use it. The only thing I can't promise you during the nativity presentation that your children will be part of, they will be the characters in the nativity. We do live stream that, and there's absolutely no way that we can guarantee that your child will not be on camera. We never zoom in on anybody. We never put names. But if you do not want your child photographed or used on social media, this is the form you need. We need it from everybody to authorize us, but this is where you opt out of that. Additional forms is the extended day program, which begins right after school, about 3:15 to 3:30, whenever we finish carpool. It's in the gym. They start in the cafeteria. There's homework time, there's snack time, there's recess time, there's playground time, there's games on rainy days, there's movies. The children like EDP here. So if you're interested in that, the EDP form is on the website. And then you don't need the middle school cell phone policy yet. And then again, Mrs. Kennan's email address is embedded in this, the homework for parents, how you upload. Uniform fittings. Lots of questions come about uniforms. So these are the requirements for kindergarten. And you can print this. Summer uniform is worn from the first day of school until the first Monday in November that doesn't come after Halloween. So if we never have the first uniform day the day after Halloween. It's All Saints Day. We go to Mass. And then after spring break until the last day of school. So the winter uniform or dress uniforms are from November, and then PE uniforms are worn to school. So we eliminate that changing. There's a different PE uniform for summer, which is shorts, than winter, which is the long pants and sweatshirt. So these are the outline, and you'll have a copy of this. But Mrs. Hernan, who is our school store manager currently, she has set up individual times that you'll be able to set up an appointment. They're hour long, and this is the link to that. So you'll go on to this link, and you will sign up. Oh, I'm sorry, they're half-hour time frames, and that's upcoming next week. Now, we have printed on this table, if you know your schedule and you'd like to sign up before you leave here, the times that are currently available. We won't send out this link until we input. The parents were here last night, and then this group is here today. And so you'll have the opportunity to sign up before you leave here today. She will have a list. They will walk you through any questions that you have about summer uniform, winter uniform, anything related. Summer opportunities. So we have something called Summer Solutions for every grade level. Mrs. Preisler will talk a little bit about this, but we added pre-K just in case your child wants to work or they have an older sibling that's working in this. Miss Preisler will talk a little bit more about Summer Solutions in her presentation. And then the summer reading list, I'm going to show them to you. But the reading list really start in first grade. Again, this is Ms. Preisler's area. We like our parents to read to their children. They're at so many different stages when they enter kindergarten, depending, their age and, the preschool program they came from, and we recognize that. The Weekly Herald, another great source of information. So, and this is on, you should be getting it. We added your email addresses to our distribution list. If you're not getting it, you email Mrs. Harrison, and she will make sure that you're getting the communication. When I send out something as an administrative email, I usually use the RenWeb or the fax student information system. So it's important that you keep your email addresses updated, and that's how we issue, and it goes both to mom and dad. So you get 2 copies. So this is, there's always a quote, something that we honored our advisory council. Those are our new HSA board. We have a great Playday Palooza. In case you're wondering what happens at this time of the year, we have so many events coming up. The 8th grade retreat, beautiful day. And again, it's all under that Encounter Christ Empowers Students. The in-house field trips that we had for the primary grades, where the Chattahoochee Nature Center came and brought animals, and it was a beautiful day. The engaged community had to do with our HSA, and that's, I think, the next slide. This army of volunteers that we have, and I hope that you will join and find ways that you can get involved. And I hope that I can open those doors and have you on campus next year, because we have really missed our parents. They do so much for us on a day-to-day basis with their presence, their extra hands, and so we really miss them. We've highlighted faculty, school supplies we'll talk about in a minute, summer reading, and then if Blessed Trinity is having anything that impacts our students or available, we're a feeder school. We're not part of Blessed Trinity, but we have a nice relationship with everyone over there. the majority, about 98% of our students go to high school there, and many of our families have one foot in the door, both at Blessed Trinity and here. School supplies. So this is an effort by the HSA. They did an amazing job. Now, EPI, the company we chose, claims that these, if you buy through the HSA or this link, that they're 40% less. I don't feel comfortable with that figure, but it saves you time and trouble of shopping. We asked for these specific brands of items to be in the classroom, and so you will be able to access the link. And we also have flyers, paper flyers over on the table, so you make sure you have the code. We ask that you do this before the end of May so that they have a count. The school supplies are delivered in a box with your child's name on it, and then our HSA comes in and they deliver it to the homerooms. So the first day of school on August 11th, when you come into the classroom, that box of school supplies will be on your child's desk. It is just it's such an easy way to purchase school supplies, and then we get the exact supplies that the teachers are requesting. There is a 3-letter and 3-number code that you have to use to access Queen of Angels. We ask that you don't share that with anybody outside of the school, and all the details about ordering are on that site. The Home and School Association, and again, amazing group of moms and dads that help us. So there's general information about the HSA on the website. On here, their board, their fundraising, and volunteer opportunities. This is so helpful. We did the board in my Herald, so you've probably already seen that, but I'm going to just show you a few of the opportunities. So we need people in the cafeteria. We need party parents. In the media center, help with the book fair. We've got a tardy volunteer, parent socials. Olympic Day, which Playday Palooza is having to substitute for our Olympic Day just because we can't have a field day. Academic enrichment, International Week is huge here at school. The Spiritual Life Committee, which is the bulk of our parent volunteers. Spiritual Angels for the different grade levels, service projects, and our students go off campus for service projects. Every place from Our Lady of Perpetual Help Cancer Home to Hoops for Heart out here in Roswell. It's a learning experiential service, and so that they just love service. When I do 8th grade exit interviews, it's one of the things that they talk about. So integrating that service from a very young age up through 8th grade. Paraliturgical services, the Living Rosary, the Living Stations of the Cross, May Crowning, our prayer group, and then the E-Pray, where we remember people in our community. We've got the Guardian Guides, which is a group of dads. Hospitality is everything from faculty birthdays and grandparents' day, anything, coffees, baked goods. So if you're a working parent, there's ways to get involved because we always need things cooked or, and the parties are not far enough in advance. There's sign-ups that will go out during the summer once we know that, what the protocol is for parents being on campus. Guardian families. This is like an ambassador program where you will be assigned a family. Often new parents are not as comfortable asking staff or administration questions, so we like parents to hear it from their perspective. You might think of something, but that family will help you to transition into the school and answer any questions that you might have about, Queen of Angels, or just, when do they wear their white tennis shoes, or, when just things that you might think are silly, but if your child comes into school with the wrong color shoes, they end up in tears. So it's important, I think, to have that connection, and those will be assigned in July. So most important is the academic excellence that we have here. And I will ask Mrs. Preisler to come forward and talk a little bit about the curriculum here, and especially in the kindergarten.
Well, good morning. I am Sue Preisler, the curriculum coordinator here at Queen of Angels, and I'm not just an employee, I'm also a parent. I have a 4th grader and a 7th grader, and I'm also an aunt. I have a niece and a nephew in 2nd grade and 6th grade, so I am personally invested in the quality of the education here at Queen of Angels. And I feel like even though one of my babies is 7th grade, I feel like I was just in your shoes just the other day. So I just want to reiterate, as Dr. Arthur said, there are no silly questions. I remember that somebody had told me once, oh, carpool's going to go just like last year. And I thought, okay, what was that like? So there are no silly questions at all. So please don't hesitate to ask your guardian family that connects with you or any faculty and staff. So the kindergarten curriculum, we have our core classes of religion, literacy skills, math skills, science, and social studies, as well as specials classes for PE, art, music, STREAM, Spanish, computer lab, and media center. And that sounds like a lot for 5 and 6-year-olds, but it's not all in one day, and it is integrated within different parts of their day. So, for example, science and social studies might also connect to their literacy lessons for phonics and spelling and reading, things like that. So the day is fun. They do have it jam-packed every single day, but the teachers are great at balancing everything for them. We'll talk more about that curriculum in August. There's certain things that that parents want to know, is my student ready for kindergarten? Is there anything I should be doing over the summer? For the most part, I think parents, you guys you're already doing things to get your kids ready for school, but I just want to touch on some of the things that may be helpful to practice or talk about before students start their first day. 3 areas: fine motor skills, preparing to read, and then school readiness skills. Those are 3 areas I think that are pretty important. The first thing, the fine motor skills, being able to button buttons, zipping zippers, holding pencils with a proper grip, using scissors. These are all things that you can practice every day, getting ready to go out the door in the morning, having them put on their own shoes, starting to learn how to tie their shoes, because they do wear tie shoes with the white tennis shoes, and I believe the boys wear tie shoes all year long. So they don't have to know how to tie their shoes the very first day, but getting started with that process. Being able to use safety scissors, small scissors for their small hands. That could be anything like making a card for grandma and grandpa and cutting out little hearts or circles or something to paste on. So fun things that you would do normally are great things for that. Speaking of buttoning and zipping and tying shoes, one of the skills for school readiness is for students to be able to take responsibility for themselves. So being able to use the restroom independently and be able to button and zip on their own. Cleaning up after eating or playing, and I'm sure these are things that you already do at home. After dinner, they should take their plates and their silverware and put them in a certain place to help clean up. If they are playing with their toys, that we need to put things away when we're done with them. So things that we do normally at home. Also getting ready to go somewhere, whether it's putting on a coat, because it was really cold this morning, so sometimes we still need a coat this time of year. But being able to put that coat on by themselves, so whenever they're in kindergarten and it's time to go out to the playground, if they have their fleece or their winter coat they have to put on, they can do that themselves. And then building their confidence that they can take care of themselves. The teachers here are great about encouraging independence in the students. The other skills for are fine motor. There are things that you can do within your home. Things like using small tweezers or using sidewalk chalk outside, using things that build those muscles in their hands. I can advance the slide. Oh, there's a slide that will be available to you that talks about some of these things. Other things for school readiness, the ability to sit and listen, and you're probably already doing this when you take your kids to church, because at Mass, we need to sit quietly, we need to focus on the person who's speaking, the priest is talking, so we stand when we're asked to stand, we kneel when we're asked to kneel, and things like that. So being able to sit when it's time to be quiet, knowing that there's a time to be quiet and listen to someone else, and a time where we get to talk, a time where we get to run around outside and we get to yell, and a time to listen and follow directions. So just emphasizing those sorts of things. Being able to follow 1- and 2-step directions. This is, well within 5- and 6-year-olds' ability to be able to say, okay, we're going to color a sheet, and when you're done coloring the sheet, you need to put it over there, so that the students will be able to understand that there's a process that their teachers are going to be asking them to do. Again, your students or your kids probably already know this sort of thing, especially if they've been in preschool programs. They know how to follow directions. So 1- or 2-step directions is great. Being able to write their first name. And knowing that the first letter is a capital letter and the rest are lowercase letters. Having students write that letter to Grandma and Grandpa and signing their name on the bottom, being able to just practice those letters as well. Some of these skills for school readiness lead into our reading readiness. Knowing that a book, when you hold a book, you start at the beginning with the first page, and we read from the top of the page to the bottom of the page, which is something that we naturally do, so you may not think that you need to point this out, but we start at the top of the page, we go to the bottom of the page, and we read from left to right. So as you're reading with your students, you can point to the words and follow along. One thing that I enjoyed with my kids when they were younger was the Magnifikids that we would take to church so we could follow along with the readings. It's very kid-friendly, and we could follow along with our finger and point to the words as they were going through Mass. And so I see some of you nodding, so you know about the Magnifikids publications. So another thing is practicing rhyming words, playing games. This is great for the car when you're stuck in traffic, and it's just, hey, I'm going to say a word, and you tell me a word that rhymes. And they could be nonsense words. You can get a lot of giggles and laughs out of this. So if I say cake, you say, and then your student would say bake or take or make. And so even older kids like to play that game and see if they can say a word that wasn't said before. But this is a fun game that you can play in the car. So any rhyming games, any silly games like fiddlesticks where you could make up a story. One person says the first part of the story, and then you say fiddlesticks, and then the student says the rest of the story, and they say fiddlesticks when it's someone else's turn. So fun games like that. Nursery rhymes, teaching those nursery rhymes that we all learned as kids. They help with the rhyming skills, understanding the pattern of words. And sharing books that you loved as a child. I know that my parents saved all of my books, and so I had been reading through them with my kids, books that I loved. I had Cabbage Patch Kid books and books about Care Bears and things, which came back into popularity. So those were big hits with my kids, reading through them and looking at the pictures and seeing people, little kids sitting in the front seat of the car, because that was how it was back in the day, the kids could ride in the front seat of the car. They think that's hilarious. So sharing those books that you loved as a child and reading every single day with your kids. The last thing I wanted to talk about was, what skills, what information do my kids need to know? They don't need to do the pre-K workbooks, as Dr. Arthur said, for Summer Solutions. The Summer Solutions workbooks, we do highly recommend for the older students. So if you do have students here at Queen of Angels, we do recommend those. But for the incoming kindergarten, workbooks are not for everyone starting off right away. So if you have older students and you think that your children would like to do workbooks just like older brothers and sisters, you're perfectly fine getting the grammar and the mathematics workbooks as well. But if not, it's perfectly fine. There are lots of things that you can do with your students to encourage them to learn. I'm sure you answer questions every 5 minutes of why is this and how does this work and what do you da da da. So encourage those questions. Bring out that wonder and curiosity that students or that kids naturally have. Some things that you can do. You can have a jelly roll pan, sprinkle baking soda all over it. Take some Dixie cups, food coloring, vinegar, mix it up, mix different colors, and then those old medicine droppers. You can have them use their fine motor skills to suck up that vinegar from the little Dixie cups and spread it all over the baking soda and watch it fizz. And what happens if we mix the blue with the yellow and see what color that makes? And just fun things like that. If you Google kitchen science, you'll find so many things that your kids would love to do. They also make great play date activities. I had a play date with my girls when they were younger. We did the vinegar and baking soda. They did it for an hour. They thought it was the best thing. I ran out of baking soda. So fun kitchen science activities. If your kids ask questions, like what happens if you stick orange juice in the freezer instead of water? What happens to that? I don't know. Let's find out. What happens if you put cereal in water and put it in the freezer? What happens to the cereal? I don't know. Let's find out. So there's lots of different things that you could do to encourage your child's creativity and curiosity over the summer. Let's see. I think that is about it. So curriculum-wise, it is going to be a busy time for them, but everything that we do here at Queen of Angels, I think prepares the students for everything that's coming in the future, and we really appreciate you sharing your students with us as we continue our educational journey with them. So thank you.
Okay, so that's a lot of information and kind of hits the major points. I am going to open it up for questions. Anything that we had on the slides. Before you leave here today, we do have a sign for you to take home. I had a 5-year-old tell me last night, well, I already have a sign in my yard. It says, "Congratulations, class of 2021." So we know there's a lot of preschool, moving on or graduations going on. We take this opportunity to officially welcome you to Queen of Angels and have a yard sign for you so that your neighbors all know that you're one of our guardians. And again, like Ms. Pricer said, thank you for trusting your children to us. We also have a class of 2030 shirt. They're all one size. They may seem big right now, but your children are going to grow a lot over the next year, and they'll have the opportunity to wear this on Spirit Days. And so, and if you are open for your child's picture to be posted on social media, we ask that you take a picture of your child in this shirt and send it to Mrs. Harrison, M. Harrison at qaschool.org. And we are going to do a welcome to our new kindergarten parents. So that's exciting. But these shirts have your name on it. And also part of that is our car magnet, Encounter Christ, Empower Students, and Engage Community. It talks about, it has our blue ribbon logo and then our school logo. We're very proud of a second time named, Blue Ribbon School of Excellence. So I'm going to put this down. And for our parents who are live streaming right now, there'll be an opportunity for you to come pick up your T-shirt, your sign, and your magnet here at school over the next week. So I will take questions, but I know that when I've met with our current parents, the question is, what will next year look like? And I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I knew. I will tell you, just in the last couple weeks, we've had information from our task force that comes, especially with the CDC updating their policies. everything from the desks are now 3 feet apart. We can now share materials. We can have balls. We can use the playground without sanitizing it. The problem is with the playground, they can use it, but after each group, because we have them in cohorts, it has to be sanitized. We're down one cleaning maintenance person this year. And so we don't have the capacity, and our playground is huge. And so, even I've talked to other principals, and they've cordoned off their playground and only had a certain, so everybody's been dealing with this. So we were thrilled to find out that we don't have to clean and sanitize after each use. All the equipment and PE can be used, but we're still in that situation. There's still positive reports. And so, I look at Clayton County that has 5 elementary schools now at virtual learning until the end of the year. We track this. We know it's still alive. It's not as predominant as it was, after the Christmas break and as spring has come. But we have to be vigilant. We want to finish the year strong. We want our Play Day Palooza. So in looking at next year, I continue to pray every day that this will go. I don't think it'll ever go away, but we'll find a way to mitigate it so that we can have our cohorts don't have to be in cohorts, that we can use our entire school facility, that we maybe have masks as optional. And these are my dreams. These are my hopes. These are my prayers. So I won't know until July. So last year I put out a school reopening plan. As soon as I get information like we can now use the playground, I send it to our parents. Graduation, we were limited to two parents, 2 adults per child. With Pentecost and opening up the church now, I contacted Monsignor Rout, now we're at 5. And so and I immediately emailed the 8th grade parents. So grateful for that information coming, grateful for the updates, and grateful for the vaccinations. I think most importantly for our adults, to keep our teachers protected, as well as your students, if that's what it comes to. I don't know. I mean, there's just so much we know so much more than we did last year, but we still, are still questioning a lot. So for you, and I tell our parents here, I'm open to the least restrictive environment that we can possibly have, but putting the safety and the health of each one of your children as a priority. So that's my commitment to you. If I get the guidelines, and we have to follow the guidelines from our task force because they interact with the CDC and also Fulton County Department of Health. I don't think people realize that as an accredited school, we have to follow all the state and local, state, and federal guidelines. So anything that's Fulton County, and we're Fulton County, we've had them call our clinic to check on students because all those positive cases go to Fulton County. So they'll call. So our records have to be impeccable. Our tracking has to be up to date, even to the point where Ms. Montepere and I both were certified through Johns Hopkins in pandemic and COVID tracking. Last summer we attended this. So very knowledgeable. I can tell you 2 days ago the positive rate for the whole state of Georgia was 458. I look at this very often. So I think that from 6,000 down to 458, we're making progress. So your assurance that I'm knowledgeable. I want this to go away. I had a kindergartner as my granddaughter, who barely entered school, and I had the fortune to be with them. They're in New York, and I watched her on a Zoom class from 8 o'clock in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and my heart broke for her. And as a principal and somebody that set this up entirely different for our kindergarten when we were 100% virtual, it was heartbreaking, but parents up there expect their child to be babysat in some way, regardless of the screen time. So you can ask Ms. Price or myself, we are very cautious about screen time with this age of child. So again, I think we're on the other side unless some, COVID variant, comes over from a foreign country, and but hopefully you will be welcome on campus next year. and that our children will be in use of the entire facility, and we won't be in cohorts. And I can't comment about masks. I just don't know. It goes back and forth. But that's how it was last year, and I didn't say anything last year just because there's all these discussions, and really we won't know until July. So I'll give you the most up-to-date, accurate information. But that's my hope, that's my prayer, that's my dream, that we have a very normal, especially for these 5-year-olds who are entering kindergarten, big school, for the first time. I have, my grandchildren are this age, and it's heartbreaking. So know where I am on that. All right, let me take questions. Anything that I didn't address in the presentation, or something that you might, our summer hours, our official summer hours are 9 to 3 throughout the summer, except for July 4th. There'll be somebody here answering the phone or being able to address needs. That first 2 weeks of July is kind of a dead period. Mrs. Kennan is here for 2 weeks in June, and then she comes back mid-July. I'm here. I may take a vacation this year, but I will hear. I'm very good about answering email. I'm connected at all times. If you have anything that you can't get information on, please feel free to email me throughout the summer. But yes, anything that I did not address, yes. There is no ingredient list for the menu. And I would like you to write on your child's medical form that you need to speak with the nurse, and then we address that on a case-by-case basis. Yes. Yes. I hope so. And so again, the 8th grade have always been buddies to our kindergartners, and this is the most precious relationship. Our 8th graders are amazing. You look at all the media out about our teens, 13, 14-year-olds. These young men and women become role models for these little ones. And in the past, we didn't have our end of the year buddies last year, because we went into virtual learning March 13th at 3:35. But we hope to have that next year, because it's really at that last day of school, the kindergartners are standing at the fence crying as the 8th grade, we're clapping them out. And it's just so precious, even to the point, can we have popsicles with our kindergarten buddies? Can we go read to our Well, you have to do that pre-algebra test, but let's see what we can do. And even when I asked in 2019-20, the 8th grade, what are some privileges? We'd like to spend more time with our kindergarten buddies. That was what they wanted for a privilege. And so I think it speaks very highly of our program here and the young men and women that we are forming in a partnership with you. And I hope to have the buddy program. I hope for a lot. Any other questions? Yes. It's a monthly program, and you sign up the month prior. So for August, you'll have to sign up by July 31st. If you want to enter in September, you have to sign up by August 31st. And there's a monthly fee. One child, I think it's $150 per child, and it doesn't matter if you come one day or you come all 25 days. They cannot. This is specifically for, I don't know, that would be, Mrs. Kennan, would you make a note of that to ask if, because that would take one of those older appointments out. Yeah. We like our kindergartens to have so much attention at first, and they're only half-hour periods, so it may, we want them to feel so special. Yeah. But we can ask. I just think it would go over a half hour if we had the older sibling come. Yes. I think you asked about hours. Is, again, these masks are so difficult. So our early morning drop-off starts at 7 a.m. And if you're a working parent and you need to drop your child off, now, unfortunately, this year we could not bring the children in the cafeteria, so they've been outside in front of school. And like on days where the temperatures were freezing or, we had like a huge storm blowing up, I would text the parents and say, we're going to delay drop-off till 7:30. The teachers don't arrive until, they don't have to be in their classrooms till 7:40. So we don't send the children to their classrooms until that time. But we do have 3 people that are monitoring the children that are dropped off early. And then at 7:40, they go to homeroom. They're tardy at 8 o'clock. We dismiss, afternoon prayers are at 3:05. And then carpool starts right after that. And we don't want to tell you about carpool as new parents. But we're out of here in 20 minutes, right, Miss Colley? It's very sophisticated. We're going to revisit that. We're in our COVID pandemic parking lot, but it's worked. I mean, we don't usually. We have so many after-school programs. We have scouting, we have chess, performing arts, a choir, daisies, Cub Scouts, this whole host, and we have not been able to have any extracurriculars this year. So hopefully those will be restored. And so when that happens, it takes, I would say, and then EDP has not been well attended because a lot of parents are working from home now. But when you have EDP and all those programs intact, it probably takes close to 150 children out of the mix. And so the carpool is a lot smaller and faster. So we came up with a way, to dismiss 500 children. And I'm proud that we get it out. We get you out in 20 minutes. But many parents are parking, as early as 2 o'clock to be the first one out. If you come at 3:30, you drive right in and drive right out. Your child is standing in front of school. You drive in and you drive right out. So it all depends on what your needs are and, what you're willing to, I see parents parking out there and they're on laptops using our, we give them the Wi-Fi password and they just work in the parking lot. But good questions. And then if they are in EDP, they go straight to, they start in the cafeteria and then there's, snacks and playground and all kinds of fun things. Yes. So, Mrs. Pricer, were they on with the mats? So this year we could not do that because of all the sanitization and the cleaning that are required. And so they did not have their rest mats. I think, is that on the supply list? It is not on the supply list. But here's the thing about kindergarten. These 2 teachers are so seasoned. They know. And there are opportunities for them to rest where they're not working. And all their specials are in the afternoon. So they do that hardcore literacy and math in the morning. And then their PE and STREAM, which is STEM with religion and art in it. Music, any of the fun stuff. So they're out, they're moving. This year it's in the classrooms, but hopefully next year they'll be all over the school. These are great questions. Anything else? Yes. So the way, and again, we're in the COVID lunchtime where they're eating in the classrooms. Normally, students go through the cafeteria line and the people in the cafeteria make their tray. There's a different size lunch and a different price lunch for the smaller children than there is for so you can order not an adult, but a middle school lunch or a small lunch, and there's a hot entry and there's a cold entry. So, again, I'm speaking on this year because we hope to have the cafeteria up and running again next year, but then again, you've got open food, and we'll have to see what the guidelines are. But the kindergartens actually go over to the cafeteria and they go through the line. The teacher, you'll have access to the menu through the parent portal, and you will see what's on the menu maybe the night before, and you go, oh, they're having pizza tomorrow. Do you want pizza or do you want me to pack your lunch? When the children come in, the teachers say who brought their lunch and who didn't, and who wants pizza or who wants chicken salad. And so everybody eats pizza here, so we have to bring extra help in on Fridays because there's so much demand for pizza. So that, they raise their hand and the teacher enters it in the portal, and it goes straight to the cafeteria. And then it's marked electronically, and then that's the incidental you're billed for at the end of the month. Yes? It does not include a backpack or a lunchbox. These are school supplies that they will actually use in the classroom. So I don't have the kindergarten list. We'll post that, Ms. Preisler. Thank you. Anything else for our kindergarten? Yes. Do you mind pulling down your mask? I'm having, sorry. We each, like our ballerinas, they all have a different form, and yes, they put in a folder on the parent portal. We have a Thursday folder that goes home, so a lot of times we'll put a flyer in. We're trying to do more electronic, but there'll be opportunities to sign up for those. And even chess, I think she started another day because there was so much demand for chess. Yes, but we'll make sure that everybody has that information. For some of these things, it's been almost 2 years, since we did it, and I have to think, yeah, how did we do that? But yes, we're thrilled you're here. If there's no other questions, again, I just want to welcome the class of 2030. And again, thank you for choosing Queen of Angels. Thank you for entrusting your children. I look forward to getting to know each of you and your children. And, I was telling somebody last night, we're such a warm community. These hugs that we can no longer do, that some children just need. It'll be nice to have that back. It's just where we are. But again, my assurance to you that we're looking for that guidance to come, and then hopefully I'll have some flexibility in administering, for our population here. We've got so many different types of schools throughout the Archdiocese, so I'm hoping they'll give me a little bit of flexibility here. This year there was no flexibility. So hopefully with what we know now and the vaccination, with, so many people now, that number rising, we'll be able to, have a more traditional and normal school year where that third part of our tagline, engaged community, is no longer, at a deficit. So, but thank you, the fact that you can be here today and that we've been able to have our parents on campus for the different productions that we've had this year. Has been a testament to our teachers, Ms. Deacon Thomasberger, thank you for always being available to live stream. Our families at home, please, if you want to come pick up your t-shirt and sign and magnet, or if you have any questions, you have our contact information. again, everyone will receive this PowerPoint. It is a PDF with the links live so that you can go to all the places that I went this morning. And now I'm going to, Mrs. Kennan, will you come up and just, if you're interested in signing up for a uniform fitting, the lists are here. There's also additional school supply flyers. I think I said that if you want a hard copy. And please take one of those and then pick up your shirt. They have your child's name on them. And, again, I look forward to seeing you in August. Look for my communication during the summer. I know you will, because we all want to know where this is going. So, again, thank you for being here.